Okay, so another option that you could use for keeping warm with a minimal amount of space is a rechargeable battery powered vest. Now, this sounds kind of silly. The reason this is very useful is that it takes a very minimal amount of storage space compared to the equivalent warmth of a down jacket. This gives you versatility because you can have 3 levels of warmth or just not use the heat at all. Wear it as a base layer. So as it's getting warmer in the morning, you're going from maybe level 3 down to 2, down to 1, and then off for the whole afternoon. And then as it's getting colder in the evening, you're plugging it back in and then going to level 1, level 2, and level 3. You can recharge the battery pack. It's a USB powered vest unlimited amounts of times through solar. So it's also something great for travel. It allows you to basically replace several garments with just one vest. And if you wear it underneath your clothes or underneath a Mylar parka, that heat is going to be reflected even more. All right, now let's talk about water. So this is a Ketadine gravity water bag. Now, it's designed to be hung from a tree or an easy up or any solid object, but you can also, although it's not designed for it per se, use this as your camelback. So now you have multiple benefits. So it has that fold over enclosure. It's relatively leak free, and you can drink as long as you pull over, maybe hang your backpack. You can have the hose come out, and now you can drink from it actively filtered. So a camelback works fine. It's just a passive, non-purifying, non-filtrating system. This gives you the best of both. It's a bag for your water, but it actively filters, and you can also share the water, unlike with the Life Straw or the Epic OG Nalgene bottle. If you want just a regular camelback water bladder, more and more backpacks, hiking packs are designed for this, and the hose just comes right out. So that's the advantage of this versus the previous one, is that this doesn't have a bite valve. This doesn't have the ability to drink as easily, although it's still possible, from the bag itself like this one does. If you're going to store water, which you obviously should, but you're within a limitation of the weight, because a gallon of water weighs about 8.3 to 8.5 pounds, this is a better long-term storage option. You can store water using Purify, which will last up to 25 years. Don't use the regular disposable bottles. I have another presentation on that, which shows the limitations of regular 16-ounce disposable bottles. The plastic will fail you. This is a better option. Purify, it allows you to reuse the bottle after you've emptied it. So now you have multiple water vessels. After you've drank your 2 bottles that you store in your backpack, now you have 2 empty bottles to replenish and refill. All right, next, this is water purification tablets. These are good to purify water of bacteria. If you don't have the ability to use thermal, I would save these for last. The reason you have a PACE plan is it allows you to have an order of what you're going to use first and last: primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. Use the replenishable methods first. So before you use these, because these are once and done, every one you use is n-1, use water purification through heat. So use a rocket stove where you can use the little twigs that are in innumerable quantity to fire up your water bottle, which I'll show you in a sec which one I recommend, that you can boil with, and that'll give you the ability to thermally purify your water. This is the Stanley bottle that I was just talking about. This allows you to boil the water for thermal purification. Thermal purification is extremely effective at reducing the bacteria, the protozoa, most viruses, although not all viruses. You may have to use filters for the viruses, but for at least the bacteria and protozoa, microorganisms. And then self-defense. Okay, this is a topic that I think one of the individuals that was here earlier didn't fully understand the importance of. If you can't protect it, you cannot keep it. You are going to be a sitting duck. You are going to be vulnerable to what somebody wants from you. And if you've already packed a bag and you can't protect it, then you've created a go bag unintentionally for someone else. You may want a real gun. You may want a simulated gun if you're not comfortable. So this is an airsoft gun. This is an airsoft gun versus an actual Glock. Can you tell the difference? If you don't want to carry an actual gun, this would be something that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but most people are going to be deterred immediately by something that looks as realistic as a replica Glock or SIG. So they're going to want to find an easier, softer target. This is just another way to become a harder target. Next, taser pulse. Maybe you don't want a gun. This would be a way for you to protect yourself in a non-lethal manner using an electronic weapon that can immobilize an attacker, but the problem is it's once and done. So once you've expended the cartridge, you can still use it as a stun gun, but you have to replace that cartridge. So decide whether you want to carry 9mm rounds, when you want to carry 5.56. Everything weighs something, everything takes up space. If you want to carry both, that's also a viable option. But again, you only have so much space, you only have so much capacity for weight. Slingshot. Now, this sounds really silly, right? A slingshot, but the advantage of that is you can hunt small game and have some reasonable self-defense, not great, but some self-defense using just the innumerable quantities of little rocks and pellets that you can find around to maybe hunt small game or keep people away from your camp. It's annoying. It's not going to stop someone who really wants to fight through it. It's not lethal, obviously, in most cases. It allows you to have a replenishable, innumerable, inexhaustible quantity of ammo. A knife is critical. Now, you don't want to be in a knife fight. You don't want to use a knife for self-defense. This should be beyond your last resort. If you are engaged in a knife fight, you're just as likely to have your weapon used against you or the other person's against them. You're just as likely, if you aren't trained, to lose your knife and have it used against you. You're in worse off than had you never brought the knife out to begin with. This is a Mora knife. It's a very reasonably priced knife on Amazon. This is a better knife. This is made by SOG. This is my favorite knife. It's a SOG Steel Strike. It has a fire starter, flint striker built in. It has a rope cutter. It's a much better knife. And then food. So food, you obviously want a can opener. Don't want to be stuck with cans, no can opener. Mountain House Pantry will last 25 years, probably even longer. Takes up almost no space, no weight. You just add water. If you can heat it, even better. And now you have high-calorie foods. Have some utensils. Have peanut butter, dried peanut butter. That's good for your dog. It's good for you. Takes up almost no space. You can barter with it. It just needs water. And now you have, unless you're allergic to it, a very sensible, high-energy snack. And you can portion it out easily. And then signaling. So as I talked about before, you need the ability to signal with your party, to signal with help. This is a compass that also has a mirror. You can use that to hail aircraft. I talked about the white light and the red light for signaling to your camp, the unique flash pattern of the white light. We talked about tools, and you want to have at least some basic tools. This is a Silcock key, so you can open valves that are outside of buildings. Maybe there's still a vacuum where the water's trapped in the pipe, so you can get emergency water outside the building. This is Crazy Glue, a very useful tool. You can use it not just for the obvious things, but to seal up a cut in most cases. There's also skin glue that's even better. This is duct tape that isn't just a big empty roll with a hole in the middle. It's flat, pocket size, so the more you use of it, the less space it occupies. It's folded over. There's minimal wasted space. This could be a way to have keys ready on the outside for your car, so you're not fumbling for them. An extra set of keys for your car would be great. Carabiners, just like USB cables, you can't have too many carabiners. I already used them today to hang a weight a scale so we could show how much 20 pounds actually weighs by using the carabiner. Carabiners will carry your keys, carry far more than you even imagine right now. This is 550 cord. If you have to carry rope, use 550 cord because each cord breaks up into individual strands, which can be used for fishing line, which can be used for sutures, which can be used for a multitude of purposes. It's also called paracord. I highlighted this not because it's godly, just because it's hard to see on the black background. Crowbar, also known as a key to the city. You can break in almost any door with that. You may consider having bolt cutters, but probably not worth the weight. Maybe put that in your car, collapsible bolt cutters, but this will allow you to have reasonable self-defense as well as pry open many doors with minimal damage to yourself. This is a multi-tool. If you can still find these, they're hard to find. SOG multi-tool that comes with a bit set. Otherwise, there are other options, but that's my favorite. Reusable zip ties. These are zip ties that you can actually reuse because you can open them up with your finger and reuse them almost infinitely because you don't want to be once and done. This is also a dual purpose axe and hammer. Hammer on one side, axe on the other. This is for shelter. Shelter is not as important as a lot of people think, especially if you live in San Diego. You can always, if you have your crowbar, make yourself a shelter by an abandoned building, abandoned house, abandoned car. But I do recommend having a portable hammock. This is the portable travel nest. This allows you to keep your gear off the ground during the day and then keep yourself off the ground when you're trying to sleep. This is a way to hang your gear off the ground so animals, mice aren't eating into your precious remaining fuel stores and your water. Hygiene, these are portable toilet paper wipes. These are compressed wipes. So it's not just for toilet paper, it's also for hygiene. They're highly compressed. They never expire, so you don't want to go through what happened in 2020 where you had the great toilet paper crisis of 2020. These are a little larger. These are towels that are reusable, very absorbent, called light load towels. They pack in the size of about 5 coins stacked on top of each other, extremely compact. Once you need it, it's there. These are, also once and done. The reusable towels in the previous slide are reusable, obviously, so these will last a lot longer if you have the ability to hygiene yourself. These are already pre-moistened, so these are body wipes that are like a shower in a box. But they come with 10 wipes. Use them sparingly. Start with your face, then your hands, then your body. This is antimicrobial towel. So if you're going to carry a towel, carry like something like this that's going to resist odors, mildew. It has natural not natural, they've infused antimicrobial products into it. So it resists odors. This is so you can hang dry your clothes if you don't, or in addition to that gear line in the previous slide. This is 18-in-1 soap that you can use to hygiene yourself with your hair, your body, your face, do your dishes, wash your hands, clean your dog. 18-in-1, Dr. Bronner, small bottle, very useful. And then bag options. So start with something like this for your kids. If your kid can't carry a bag like this with the kids stuff, basically an entertainment kit, so they're not nagging you, they're keeping their constant distraction, a constructive distraction when you're going through total chaos and turmoil and trying to figure out what you're going to do in the next 5 hours. You don't want them nagging, you don't want them saying, I'm bored, I'm scared. Keep them distracted with games, with puzzles. Pack that for them and keep it in a small bag that they can carry if they're big enough, or you can strap to your bag with a carabiner. That's another advantage of carabiners. You can make everything modular. This is a larger bag. This is by 511, my favorite brand for bags. They're overbuilt for civilian use. And this is going to store about 50 liters. Now we're getting bigger. So you want to limit yourself. Just because you can fill this bag doesn't mean you should. Make sure you understand how much this bag is going to weigh and how long you can carry it for. As they say, how much does it weigh? Depends how far I have to walk. Every mile makes it feel even larger. And this is also another hiking tactical bag. The previous one is just your standard internal frame backpacker's bag. You can strap all kinds of things to it. You can carry just about everything you or your spouse will need to survive. So maybe you can alternate carrying it if you don't each want to carry one. And this is just another option by 511. A lot more expensive than this one, which is under $100 on Amazon. Not as rugged, but if you don't need it to be, because you're not using it that often, it'll suit you fine. This has been a presentation for what I recommend you consider adding to your go bags. If you found this helpful, the only way that I will know is if you let me know. And if the only way I will continue to make these is if people give me some feedback. So I put a lot of time into this. The only thing I ask is that you give me feedback, maybe give it a like. That would really help me out. And I also have other presentations on emergency water purification, on solar. That's going to be the next one. I'm going to make subsequent presentations on pets because we didn't have time to cover the pet emergency go bag. And we touched on the kid go bag, but didn't fully cover it. So if you found this helpful, all I ask is that you let me know. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate it.